Hi Masterwork family, Miss Geri here, just enjoying some of the music from Johann Sebastian Bach in my music room, one of my favorite rooms in my house. More on that later as we get into lesson 2, but welcome back to Masterwork Online. To recap from lesson 1, I reviewed percussion instruments, using everyday instruments in your house to create music. I'll be anxious to see some of your videos. I hope you've had fun finding unique things to create music with. We experienced steady beat and rhythm, the foundation of all music. So in just a moment, we will warm up with our game 4 beats after. I will always have the rhythm on my same body instrument. It may be the snap, the clap, the pat, or my stamp. That's our typical body instrument, so I'll see if you can figure out which one always has the rhythm in it. 1, 2, 3, your turn. So how'd you do at 4 beats after? I'm sure you did just great. And if you made a mistake, like I always say, just keep going. So the answer is the rhythm was always in my clapping instrument. The rhythm has long and short sounds. I even threw in a silent beat, the rest. So I hope you have fun taking turns with your friends and moving the steady beat to other places. The beat is steady and even. So we're going to discover today how our composer, Johann Sebastian Bach, uses rhythm and, of course, a steady beat in all the music that he has written. Remember, a composer is someone who writes music. The unique thing about Bach, not only was he a musician, a composer, but he had a strong faith and belief in God. And it says in 2 Chronicles 5:13, the trumpeters and singers performed together in unison to praise and give thanks to the Lord. He is good. His faithful love endures forever. Well, Bach noted in comment to that scripture, as a reverent performance of music, God is always at hand with his gracious presence. So Johann Sebastian Bach used God's presence as he was writing his music to give him that inspiration to create his masterpieces of music. And he created thousands. So to learn a little bit more about his life, I would like to share a little story with you in a moment. You know, Bach was born in March the 21st, in the year 1685. And if you do your math, that was 335 years ago. And his music today is still being enjoyed by piano players like me, by singers, by choirs, by organists at church. It's still very much alive. Let's see what his life was like. Johann Sebastian Bach was born in the German town of Eisenach in 1685. During his lifetime, J.S. Bach was known more as a great harpsichord player and organist than a composer. Most of the beautiful music he wrote didn't become popular until many years after he died. Johann Sebastian Bach came from a very large family of musicians. More than 70 of his uncles, cousins, brothers, and other relatives made their livings as musicians, choir masters, and composers. There were so many musical Bachs in Germany that in some areas, being a Bach meant the same thing as being a musician. Every year, members of the Bach family got together for a reunion. They had a great time playing their favorite music and then making up funny songs that kept them laughing for hours. Here we see a cartoon of Bach's family playing their instruments. And here we see it's Heinrich, the pizza man. His pizza's the worst in the land. He tops them with seaweed and rubber bands and anything else from his old garbage cans. And here is Heinrich saying, I hate these Bach family reunions. Johann Sebastian Bach played and composed his music during a time known as the Baroque period. In the 1600s and 1700s, everything in Europe seemed to have a grand, fancy, and decorative feeling to it. Art and architecture were created to show off the palaces and homes of kings, queens, dukes, and wealthy businessmen. Baroque music also had a kind of a grand decorative feeling. It was often filled with the sounds of voices, violins, trumpets, and flutes, each playing different melodies at the same time. J.S. Bach was an expert at making complicated Baroque pieces sound natural and pleasing. Gee, the new Playroom edition looks great. Are you going to paint it next? No, we usually cover everything with whipped cream and frosting to give it that decorative feel, like the Baroque. Wealthy people would listen to their favorite Baroque music at royal court gatherings or at the opera. Regular everyday people could hear wonderful choral and organ music in their local churches. Town musicians often played at celebrations and special events. J.S. Bach's father was a town musician. He probably taught his son to play the violin and introduced him to other instruments. When J.S. Bach, who was usually called Sebastian, was 9 years old, a very sad thing happened. His mother died. Then, only a year later, his father died too. And this is Bach's father here. A sad Sebastian Bach went to live with his brother Christoph Bach in a nearby town of Ohrdruf. Christoph Bach was known as an excellent church organist. He not only taught Sebastian to play the harpsichord and organ, but how to tune and fix broken organs. Johann Sebastian Bach tested and repaired organs in different towns around Germany. It was one of the ways he made extra money throughout his life. And here the young Bach says, I'll be back. I have to check something with my brother. It's my first job, you know. Well, I'll be back next week to finish our story on the life of Sebastian. But in just a moment, I'd like to share with you one of my favorite songs that Bach wrote for the piano, called The Prelude from the Well-Tempered Clavier. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. And remember, my Masterwork kids, God's love and protection is always with you. And like Bach said, especially when you're performing music, his presence is always there. Until next time, shalom. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. We'll see you again, we'll see you again. Shalom, shalom.